guys, how are you doing? We're Dogstar, and we're building the world's first emotion sensor for dogs. There are over 75 million dogs in the US, and none of them speaks English to tell us how they feel. But dogs do speak with their body language, with their tails and barking. And it seems that the tail is the social interface for dogs. That's how they communicate with each other, how they feel. There's a lot of academic research and qualitative analysis that shows that the way that the dogs are wagging their tail includes complex patterns that other dogs do understand, but humans not always capture. And that's why we created Tail Talk. Tail Talk is a tiny device that goes on the tail of the dog, captures the movement and the position, sends that information over Bluetooth to your phone, and then you will be able to see your dog's emotions diary throughout the day, whether you are there or not. We're building a company, we're building a solution that's going to be able to give you active notifications and help pet parents make decisions that will improve the quality of life of their dogs. There are 3 cases that we are focusing on right now. One is for the busy professionals that are using pet services, that they will be able to know how their dog feels and the quality of those services. For new pet families and for kids, when a puppy comes home, it's a very exciting moment, but also very stressful. And we want to help these families better understand the dog faster and live happily ever after. We're also capturing data analytics, and that information will be available to pet professionals as they're doing as a tool to improve their assessment of our dogs. We cannot measure our dog's happiness in dollars, but the pet industry is a very robust, steady growing industry, recession-proof, and there is a new trend that's emerging. The new trend that's emerging is that pet owners identify themselves as pet parents, and dogs are now part of the family, and totally change the way that non-discretionary dollars are spent. We're not the first pet tech startup. There are other companies out there that are focusing mostly on activity monitoring or GPS tracking, but we are fundamentally the first company that's focusing on emotions and behavior and the connection between the pet owner and their dogs. Not only we have a unique idea, but we're a great team to building this. Both myself and Mike over there, we're both Cornell Tech graduates, and we have extensive experience in both big data and consumer electronics. And our third co-founder, Maya, she's an industrial designer, and she's also a serial entrepreneur with successful consumer electronic exits. We're moving very rapidly. We incorporated at the beginning of the year. The idea started when we were back at Cornell, had a lot of customer development meetings. We filed for 2 patents. We won 2 Cornell awards. We won Maker's Fair Editor Choice Awards in August. We launched our Indiegogo campaign, raised $43,000. Over 300 backers, received a tremendous amount of press. And we're moving forward for continuing building our prototype, heading for a soft launch at the end of first half 2016 and a full launch at Christmas of next year. And that's the end of our tale. Okay.
When you're channeling your inner buzzkill or your inner pessimist, as we've been instructed today,
yeah.
What are you worried about with this company?
No, that's a great question. I think the first question that we ask ourselves, and the first question that we were asked is, does this thing stay on the tail? And do dogs get bothered by it? Because it's a fundamental change from the way that we are behaving today. So we follow the IDEO approach of early, fast prototyping, and we started putting, headbands and Velcro strips on the dogs. And the thing that we discovered throughout this process is, as long as it's lightweight, and as long as there are no pieces sticking out, then the dogs do not bother. The location of the product is on the base of the tail, that it's not necessarily part of their overall viewpoint. So that's what we have noticed. We have extended videos that are shows that dogs do not really bother by the product and our initial ID. That's the thing that, obviously it was the first thing that we had to conquer. The second thing is, again, being such a fundamental change, is the education. So explaining to users how this works, and the benefits and the emotional connection is easy, but just the technology is a little bit more complicated.
But to that point, what do you think is the overall value that you're giving consumers and pet parents? What is that key difference that you're providing them that they don't already have?
The biggest difference here is what happens is when you're not around. The majority of people do think that they know how their dog feels when they're around, but we're not with our dogs the whole day. And that's the fundamental value that we are adding. Being able to capture that data and make sure that that information is available to them. We did customer surveys and we sent out emails asking people. We were in dog parks in the city and in Ithaca. And one of the things that we asked is, what do you think about when a dog is wagging its tail? And the majority of people think that wagging its tail means that the dog is happy. And that's not the case. And then when you dig deeper a little bit about that, they start questioning why they don't like the neighbor, why there may be some instances of aggression with other dogs. And those are some small details that a product like ours would be able to light up their understanding. And they can, there are a lot of things that they can do after.
What are the depths of emotions that dogs can feel? And how many of those can you read at this time, and do you plan to expand that? Do they have lots of feelings?
No, that's a great question. There are 5 main emotions that they're feeling. Obviously, there is happiness, there is anxiety, there is aggression, and there is fear. And we have a very nice infographic that I didn't put it here about like how, we're working with one of our advisors is the resident behaviorist from the Cornell Vet School. And so we're trying to make sure that the information that we are providing is backed by science, and it gives meaningful information to users. So we're not going to be giving you any information that your dog is unhappy. We don't know why it's unhappy when you're not around, but we are going to be able to capture the moment of the unhappiness, and you will be able to correlate back to the event that's happened that day.
What about dogs that have clipped tails?
Okay. So the product, the way that we are designing right now, is about 10 millimeters wide. So as long as there are a few inches of tail, the product will work. If it's a totally clipped tail, it's going to be part of our new invention.
Just real quick, on customer validation, or actually validating the problem exists, what have you done other than just potentially send out surveys to actually confirm this is something people are actually going to pay for?
No, that's a great point. We put ourselves out there early, and what we did is that we went to, we had a booth in Makers Fair, and we started talking to people, and they would see a nice puppy, they would see a nice sign, everybody would get excited, show up there. We had like a very nice tote bags, everybody wanted to come and talk to us, and what was happening is the first question is, what is DogStar? And then we started explaining, and I think the fundamental point of excitement for us is when you explain what's happening, what you're solving, and you see a smile in the people's face, where like something lights up and say, "This is very interesting, and I want to know that. I want to know more about that." So, what we have done is, again, we did the surveys to validate that we're working, but then we hit the streets and started talking to people and dog owners about that. We also, the next thing that we did was we spoke with a lot of vets about what they think about the idea. And one of the interesting things is that the behavior can be leading to health issues. So one of the main reasons why people are visiting the vets is because they don't understand what's happening with their dog and the way the dog is behaving. So if we can, again, our intention is to give a little bit more information, a little bit more data to just make owners. We're not telling you that you're a bad owner, because you live a very busy life, and that's the reality of it. Like we leave our dogs at home. Both me and my wife are working. the bottom line is we're not going to tell you that you're a bad owner, but we're going to give you more information that you can make changes. You know, you can hire a dog walker. You can give, you can change your daycare because your dog is not happy there. You're spending those dollars because dogs are part of your family, but you don't really know what's happening.
Are you a dog parent?
Yes, I have a big old boxer mix named Olive.